Tonight is next.
On World News Tonight this Thursday, Hurricane George, more than 100 people dead in the Dominican Republic. Will Floridians heed the warning? How to succeed in the modern workplace, more important every day to have a college degree. And the Great American Greenback, a story of confidence and change.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. It is some storm, Hurricane George. Today, with its winds down to 80 miles an hour, it still gave Cuba and Haiti a very rough time. Torrential is not strong enough to describe how heavy the rains were. And devastation is an understatement for what the Dominican Republic has been through. More than 100 people have been killed by the storm. And now George is on its way across the Florida Straits to the Florida Keys. But we're going to start our coverage in the Dominican Republic. ABC's Juju Chang managed to get in there.
One look at the neighborhoods flooded by contaminated water, and it's clear why the Dominican president called it a national tragedy. Relief officials estimate that more than 100 people were killed and hundreds more are missing. They're looking for 30 people washed away when a mudslide destroyed a single hillside shelter. There is little hope. Roughly 100,000 people are now homeless due to the storm. There is virtually no electricity and no running water. Residents are using plastic jugs to gather usable water wherever they can. They've given us no water, no information, this woman says. The only help we've had has come from God, who watched over us during the storm. In a country where most people live on the edge of poverty, officials believe 90% of the crops, bananas and sugarcane, have been wiped out.
The U.S. government is trying to bring in search and rescue teams as well as aid. And the damage assessments here are far from over because washed out bridges and roads have made it impossible to reach what authorities believe may have been the area's hardest hit. Juju Chang, ABC News, Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic.
So what next? We turn again to Bob Sheets, the former director of the National Hurricane Center and now an ABC News consultant. Bob, is the course for George set, and are you sure?
It's pretty well set, Peter. Most of the models have come together. It's basically on its way toward the Florida Keys. The center there should be over the Florida Keys sometimes midday tomorrow. Right now, the bands are approaching there and affecting the Keys and southeast Florida.
And what does it mean when the center gets over the Keys? How bad?
We think probably somewhere near a Category 2 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale, so a little over 100-mile-per-hour winds at that stage and higher gusts.
And so what are the consequences of people living in the Keys and ignoring the warnings to get out?
There's always the great risk of the tragedies that we've had from hurricanes in the past. 35 hurricane was one where some 600 people died as a result of this storm surge. So that's always a risk.
And as we've seen today, this is a bad one.
Yes, it is.
Many thanks. Bob Sheets, former director of the National Hurricane Center, now ours. Still, even these warnings don't seem to be enough to get some people out, so we're going to go to the Keys now. ABC's Jim Williams is there.
Authorities in the Florida Keys are frustrated.
We tell them that if they don't leave, they are on their own.
Despite a mandatory evacuation order, roughly half the residents here refuse to go.
We have a business, a house, and we have a lot of people that depend on us. We're big in the community, and it's our job.
Others are making light of the danger.
This is the Key West we fell in love with 15 years ago. All the foreigners have gone, if you excuse the expression. It's just us locals, and it's just the way we like it.
But authorities say they are risking their lives. The highest point on this string of islands is 16 feet above sea level. Even a moderate hurricane could flood streets and the only highway to safety. The threat has convinced most business owners to take no chances. Here on the normally busy Duval Street, just about all the restaurants and stores have shut down and boarded up. Many who are staying say they know the risk, but they are staying anyway.
I believe in God sometimes. This is one of those times.
As Hurricane George approaches these islands, it is clear not everyone here is prepared. Jim Williams, ABC News, Key West, Florida.
When we come back, some of the other news of today, investigating the president. When is Congress going to make a decision about an impeachment inquiry? And changing cash, the new 20. We'll take a closer look at that and other things.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by the makers of new Advil Liquid Gels.
Trains now go 300 miles an hour. Mail, 3,000 miles a second. Athletes continually break records. So how come pain relief isn't faster? Introducing Advil Liquid Gels, the first and only pain reliever in a faster-acting liquid-filled capsule that's gentle on your stomach. On tough pain, Advil Liquid Gels are stronger and faster than extra-strength Tylenol. Headaches to muscle aches. New Advil Liquid Gels. Advanced medicine for pain. Just got faster.
Hey, I got a letter back from Quaker. I wrote and told them that Quaker toasted oatmeal ought to be called Quaker tasty oatmeal.
It's oatmeal, it's toasted. To me, that says tasty.
Well, then they should call it that.
You need a hobby.
Quaker toasted oatmeal. It's your other oatmeal.
We can show you people who believe every day is a gift. These same people believe that the level of commitment they've received from their healthcare company helped make that gift possible. We're Aetna U.S. Healthcare, raising the quality of healthcare in America.
In Washington today, there is every sign that disciplining President Clinton for his behavior, whatever finally happens, is going to be a lengthy affair. The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee says his committee will not even decide for another week or two whether to conduct an impeachment inquiry. For its part, the White House is trying to get out the word that from their point of view, the president can run the country anyway. We turn tonight to ABC's Sam Donaldson, who's at the White House. Sam.
Well, Peter, White House officials have resigned to a formal impeachment inquiry, although the president himself made another try today at saying this pursuit of him is a foolish diversion from the truly important business of the country. At the conclusion of a Rose Garden ceremony, the president actually waited for a question on whether he could avoid an impeachment inquiry, even shushing the crowd to make certain he would hear it.
It is utterly foolish for people to be diverted or distracted from the urgent challenges still before us. The way out here, and the only way out, is for people in Washington to do what the folks in America want them to do, which is to take care of their concerns, their children, and their future. That's what.
But on Capitol Hill, House Judiciary Chairman Hyde said his committee will move forward.
We want to hear anything and everything, good, bad, indifferent, exculpatory, accusatory, that bears on the main question. But we're not seeking to widen the scope.
Democrats weren't buying such professions of even-handedness from Republicans.
And it does seem to be one consistent principle is governing them. How do we make the president look bad and make our side look good?
Hello, everybody.
Once again, trying to make her husband look good, or at least save him from impeachment, Mrs. Clinton, on a 3-day campaign swing across the country, has been calling members of Congress about this. Because she's proud of her husband, explained her press secretary. Her husband's press secretary was asked if the president had asked her to make those calls.
I don't think the president is in a position to make that request of her, but he would gratefully accept that assistance if it's rendered.
And it turns out the president has reached out for assistance, or at least advice, to the man he beat in 1996, former Senator Bob Dole. Dole said they talked last Friday about when all this will end.
And I know the president would like to do it quickly. I mean, I know that for a fact. But I also know for a fact it's not going to happen quickly.
What all this seems to boil down to is that while an inquiry will be authorized next month, no formal impeachment hearings will begin until after the November elections. The Democrats don't like that. They want this settled now. The Republicans like that fine. They want the scandal to be fresh in the voters' minds. What happens, though, may affect this election, Peter, because the voters in a referendum could turn out to affect whether the president stays or goes.
Sam, one question. It's obvious the White House would like the country to believe he can run the country, all this notwithstanding. What do they say behind the scenes about his ability to do so?
Well, the president clearly is distracted by this scandal. He has been all along. On the other hand, Peter, as we're about to hear, I suppose, he's invited Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel and Yasser Arafat of the Palestinian Organization here next week, hoping to move ahead on Mideast peace. So he's going to do a lot of things which will suggest that he's still in charge.
Sam, thanks very much. Sam Donaldson, the White House. Of course, there will be a lot of tests, one right after the other, for the president to see whether or not he is or can be in charge. Again, on the timing, the Judiciary Committee will vote October the 5th or 6th on whether to launch a formal impeachment inquiry into those 11 charges put forward by the independent counsel Kenneth Starr. If the committee approves the inquiry, the full House would then vote on the measure of impeachment a few days later. When we come back, how long must they wait? Who will stop the slaughter of innocents? in Kosovo.
A new study has shown that 3 cups of Cheerios whole grain oats a day added to a low-fat diet can actually help reduce your cholesterol. Just think of them as little life preservers, the one and only Cheerios, to help reduce your cholesterol.
What I look for in denture adhesive is something that's strong. It has to be real strong.
Watch. Super Polygrip has improved holding power.
That's the kind of strength and holding power I'm looking for. Improved Super Polygrip holds a lot better.
When Olga Maslova wants to phone her husband, she gives new meaning to the words long-distance call. He works in a space station.
Before you call or you fax or you internet, you need this, and this.
It's a job for Siemens. We're experts in voice, data, video, all kinds of communications, anywhere on Earth. So why not above the Earth as well?
So for this, or this.
We're Siemens.
We can do that.
Welcome to My Mailboxes, etc. You know, this may look like a regular mailbox, but let me tell you the secret. You get a street address, not just a P.O. box number. That means we can sign for your FedEx shipments and other packages. You get an entire support staff. Where else are you going to be able to call and check your mail? I mean, come on, who's going to do that for you? We'll also forward that mail anywhere in the world. Can your mailbox do that?
You could win $50,000. Play What's in the Box, now at your neighborhood mailboxes, etc.
You have to dig deep to find the source of Intrepid's solid feel. Reinforced door openings, strategically placed steel beams, and an isolated suspension cradle all contribute to Intrepid's supple ride. Take away that sturdy foundation and you have, well, nothing. Dodge Intrepid. We're changing everything. Again. Lease Dodge Intrepid now for just $269 a month.
From the United States and its NATO allies today, the strongest warning yet to the Serbian government of Slobodan Milosevic. Stop the aggression in the province of Kosovo or else. Or else what is the question? Is the U.S. really ready to use force, or is this more huffing and puffing? Here's ABC's John McWethy.
The Serbs seem to taunt NATO by launching another bloody offensive against ethnic Albanians in Kosovo. There are now an estimated 250,000 refugees, tens of thousands of them driven from their homes in the last few days. The situation is crazy, this refugee says. What is the West waiting for? Pentagon sources say the first step in a NATO attack would be a cruise missile strike against Serb troops and anti-aircraft batteries in Kosovo. If that does not stop the Serbs, plans call for airstrikes all across Serbia at military installations, the electrical power grid, and factories. American pilots are already practicing in special simulators that use animated satellite imagery of Kosovo and the rest of Serbia.
So you're making a turn here and you're heading toward the capital of Kosovo right now.
The range of Serb anti-aircraft missile batteries are pictured as huge domes that a pilot must avoid.
Anytime a system like this can decrease the number of unknowns in our mission, it increases the probability of success.
Ironically, bad weather may be tipping the scales in favor of NATO military action. An early winter in the Balkans could kill thousands of those refugees. John McWethy, ABC News, the Pentagon.
In the northern German city of Hamburg tonight, the U.S. consulate is still surrounded by tight security. Police say they got information from a serious source that the consulate has been targeted by terrorists, perhaps with links to the bombing of 2 American embassies in Africa. Divers were also sent to a nearby pond to search for explosives. At the United Nations today, the Prime Minister of India said his country is prepared to sign the nuclear test ban treaty. Pakistan made a similar pledge yesterday. The 2 countries conducted tests in May that set off fears, you'll recall, of a nuclear arms race in the region. ABC's Mark Lipke reports from New Delhi in India tonight on why going nuclear may have been a colossal mistake for India.
At first, there was jubilation. The nuclear tests triggered an explosion of national pride in India. But today, feelings range from disillusionment to anger. Most everyone here asking, was it worth it?
A few years from now, I think historians will regard this as one of the grossest miscalculations ever.
Already, U.S.-led sanctions have cut off millions of dollars in badly needed aid and investment in India. Confidence in the economy has crumbled. The stock market and currency have plunged.
It is definitely having great impact on the economy.
An impact felt in every city and village where prices for food and fuel are soaring. In India, outsiders are often blamed for the country's economic woes. This time, the government is taking most of the heat, especially from the young.
I'm saying they should do something about unemployment, poverty, and our education system. Nuclear tests and destruction and all doesn't affect us at all.
There are those here who still argue the nuclear tests were good for India, that they brought the country international respect and strengthened national security, even though it now appears the opposite has happened. It's as if we dropped the bomb on ourselves, says one critic. We're the ones suffering the fallout. Mark Litke, ABC News, New Delhi.
In Britain today, the author Salman Rushdie says it looks like his time on the run may be over. Today, the foreign minister of Iran said that Iran no longer supports the $2 million reward offered for Rushdie's death. Rushdie went into hiding in 1989 after the late Ayatollah Khomeini issued a religious ruling that Rushdie should be killed for allegedly insulting Islam in his novel, The Satanic Verses. When we come back, how we work and why college counts so much.
From now on, embarrassing odor from bladder leakage won't stop me from going where I want to go.
Or doing what I want to do. And it shouldn't stop you.
Introducing A&D personal care products for bladder leakage in soothing dry lotion and cleansing towelettes. It's the first line of products made to capture and eliminate urine odor on contact and soothe irritated skin.
Ordinary lotions or wipes can't do that.
You'll feel fresh, clean, and odor-free all day.
New A&D personal care. A&D as in odor-free.
Honey, is there any of that chicken cacciatore left?
Look in the freezer.
Hefty One Zip with the hefty slider that clicks closed for freshness. Hefty One Zip, the hefty duty food bag. Hefty One Zip with the hefty slider that clicks closed for freshness.
The little guy's got spunk.
Hefty One Zip, the hefty duty food bag.
You've got a house, which also means you've got a permanent license to worry. Wouldn't it be nice to make one part of your house worry-proof? Well, you can start with your deck and Thompson's Wood Protector. It not only has our legendary waterproofing, it resists graying from the sun and prevents mildew discoloration. Try Thompson's Wood Protector in clear and 3-sheer colors. Thompson's. It's worry-proof.
Introducing British Classics, a marriage of Victorian elegance and Caribbean soul. British Classics from Ethan Allen. There's a sale on now.
Chevy Tahoe with a Vortec engine. The most powerful SUV anywhere.
The Census Bureau reported today that the proportion of Americans living below the poverty level is at its lowest in 8 years. In 1996 and 1997, nearly 1 million people moved above the poverty level. Still, 35 million Americans do not have adequate financial resources. In other words, escaping poverty in an official sense is hard enough. For many workers, it's getting tougher to get ahead, which leads us back to our series, The Way We Work. People with higher education are getting the high-tech jobs and the bigger paychecks that go with them. ABC's Rebecca Chase tonight finds that that leaves a lot of people out.
At the online research company of LexisNexis, phones are manned 24 hours a day to answer questions from its 2 million customers around the world. It's a high-tech, high-growth company where high school graduates need not apply.
We want to make sure that we're able to talk the same language as our customer base. Our customers are highly professional, highly degreed people.
Our market research.
So it takes a college degree just to answer the phone here. And half of the customer service reps even have advanced degrees. Salaries can go as high as $70,000 a year. Across town at Gem City Engineering, the requirements for traditionally blue-collar jobs have also increased dramatically. Today, machinists have to know how to program software and operate computers.
Before, it's always been you just went to work and did your job, but now it's just you just got to keep continually improving and learning more and learning more.
Terry Molnar has gone back to school several times so he can operate this sophisticated machine. Now he earns $65,000 a year.
But there is a disturbing trend here in Dayton and across the country. As wages for highly skilled and college-educated people have increased, paychecks for high school graduates have dropped.
Jack Seibert, with only a high school education, at age 49 earns $25,000 a year installing security systems.
Doing a good job.
His wife, Kathy, earns $5.50 an hour working at a daycare center. Even living in a modest home and driving a 9-year-old van, the Seiberts say they are falling behind.
Our level of income that's going up is not nearly as fast as what, like everything else is going up.
In fact, economists say the gap in wages has never been wider. College graduates used to earn about 30% more than high school graduates. Today, they make an amazing 60 to 70% more. And economists say, given current trends, that wage gap is only going to get wider. Rebecca Chase, ABC News, Dayton, Ohio.
On Wall Street today, investors cashed in a large part of yesterday's stock market gain. The Dow Jones Industrials lost 152 points to close at 8,001. On the NASDAQ market, stocks dropped almost 40 points. With all the focus on the health of the U.S. economy, here is a sobering report. The United Nations says that 1 billion people in the world may be without full-time work by the end of the year. The economic crisis in Asia certainly contributes to unemployment in Asia, but also elsewhere in the world. When we come back, changing in the 20. And why is the 20 green anyway?
Savor the summer. Live Maine lobster, specially priced at $14.99. At Red Lobster, the season isn't over.
Recently, we flew Carrie Eisenhandler and her family to Johns Hopkins for surgery to correct a pre-existing heart condition. We flew Eric Gonzalez to the Cleveland Clinic because of their renowned expertise in treating Crohn's disease. Hopefully, these stories fly in the face of the belief that healthcare isn't what it used to be. We're Aetna U.S. Healthcare, raising the quality of healthcare in America.
For the 14 million women who worry about light to moderate bladder control, now there's new Double Protection Compose Panty and Pad system. The Compose Panty and Pad fit together for double protection. There's a super absorbent disposable pad, but the real difference is the separate washable panty. It gives you double protection with a quilted panel that won't let wetness through. So why worry? Get double protection with Double Protection Compose. Protection that goes beyond the pad.
You know how important calcium is, so start your day with Total, the only leading cereal that's an excellent source of calcium. In fact, Total has more calcium than the milk itself. No other leading cereal comes close. Total, one bowl, one great source of calcium.
ABCNews.com, the first place for news online. Get your news first from ABCNews.com, on the web and America Online.
Finally, this evening, we're going to take a closer look at cash. Today, the Treasury Department began to ship $40 billion in U-20s to banks all over the country. For the government, it's an event of enormous significance when a new bill is introduced. Just think of all the debate there is in a government bureaucracy about a design change. And the new 20 is different. President Andrew Jackson is still on the front. Incidentally, he's the only president ever to be censured. 1834 for shifting the government's funds out of the central bank, which he thought too powerful, into various state banks. On the new 20, he is bigger, nonetheless, though he's been moved off-center a bit. On the back, it's still the White House, except now it's the north side instead of the south, as on the old 20. Don't ask us why these things happen. In God We Trust is still there. You know the joke. Everyone else pays cash. They did make the number 20 larger on the back, easier to identify, they say. The 20 is the bill most often counterfeited, and this time there's a green security thread that glows when you hold the bill under ultraviolet light. If it seems that Americans like to fuss about their money, it's because they do. Here's ABC's Ned Potter.
The things people will do for a buck. Today in San Francisco, a bank was giving away the new 20s if you were willing to climb into a glass booth and make a fool of yourself. But what was that person really grabbing? It's just a sheet of paper, mostly cotton, with some fancy printing. If it didn't say $20 on the front, the material and labor in it would be worth only 5.2 cents. In fact, even though the government prints 38 million new bills a day with a value of $541 million, nobody's even quite sure anymore why they're green.
According to American mythology, in the Civil War, when the first greenbacks were printed, there was simply an excess amount of green ink in Washington, D.C.
The government disagrees with that, but it does grant it's a big step to make big changes in a bill that's looked the same since 1929. 20s are the bill of choice at automatic teller machines, of which there are now 187,000. They're mostly used by young people who only take about $40 each time.
Their average transaction is popping down to a convenience store on a nightly basis, taking $20 and buying Pringles for dinner and leaving the store with the other $20 for the following day.
Some social scientists say it's a good thing we don't think too hard about cash because there's no longer anything real behind it.
Okay, total comes to $20.03.
It's no longer true that you can take a bill and exchange it for gold.
Today it says, "In God We Trust," and that's exactly what it's based on, sheer trust.
That's a fit 20. And the problem the Treasury faces now is getting people to trust those odd new bills.
Is this $20? It's a $20 bill.
No. The publicity campaign to prevent the slightest hiccup in people's confidence in American currency will cost $8 million, which is, of course, equal to 400,000 new $20 bills. Ed Potter, ABC News, New York.
That is our report on World News Tonight. Later on Nightline, while Washington is absorbed in its own crisis, they're going to focus on some of the events going on in the rest of the world. I'm Petey Jennings. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Tomorrow, with all attention on the home run race, season thrillers we missed, and who really holds baseball's home run record. Watch World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.